Nobody did any email.
Set now.
So I took care of your pictures.
Oh, did you see my mistake?
Stand for the pledge, please.
Did you see my mistake? The first was the second one.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the special meeting of the Village Board of Trustees for April 2nd, 2019 to order. Roll call. Ms. Winston.
Present.
Mr. Carville.
Here.
Mr. Deshays.
Here.
Mr. Revere.
Present.
I am here. The purpose of today's special meeting is to hold two public hearings, one regarding the budget for 2019-2020 and the 2% tax cap override, and following that will be budget work sessions. I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Mr. Revere, second by Mr. Deshays. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing will take public comment after I go through the budget. This shows the increased tax levy, which is currently at 1.77%. Those are actual numbers from 2004 to 2019. Obviously, the 2020 is a proposed, depending on what the trustees do. The tax rate per thousand is at $16.41. That's a 0.20, 20 cent increase over last year's number, as proposed. The forecasted unassigned fund balance at the end of this fiscal year, minus the fund balance that I've put into the budget, is projected at this point to be $1.5 million and some change there. The appropriated fund balance that I've applied to the budget is $300,000. That's a decrease of slightly over $19,000 from last year. General fund revenues and expenses, proposing 9.686123 in expenses this year. You can see the shortfall of exactly $300,000, which is where the fund balance comes. General fund breakdown, as proposed. Those are the actual numbers that are applied to each. Some of the notable accomplishments, I asked department heads in their budgets to list some things they did. I'll highlight a few of them. The phase 1 of the aluminum trail has been completed, so that's the from the footbridge. Much of the work underneath the footbridge is all completed, and it goes out down Liberty Avenue, across Stoughton, and up toward North Main Street. So phase 1 is complete. We're happy to get that done after how many years, Hoss? Many. So we're still pursuing funding for the top of that. We looped the Martin and Orchard Road. We did some pipe bursting across 2 sections of State Route 37, paved 1.6 miles of road, and we're currently consolidating and relocating the balance of our public works facility on South Main Street to the Robinson Road area. Joint Rec's been very busy. Number of new programming, playground upgrades, and of course they're going to be starting the Water Street Park this year. And the other thing that's notable is the renovations to the arena, thanks to grant funding from elected officials. So new roof, new doors, some other things that are occurring at the arena. Police has been very very busy. A number of different programs, partnerships with the Drug Free Coalition, the True Blue program, community policing, a number of narcotics investigations. Fire is finishing up with zombie. Fire and Code is finishing up a zombie property grant. Very important. It's a grant that we wrote and received to prevent current properties from becoming future zombie properties. So we hope in the long run that'll pay its dividends in the investment that we've made. They've implemented a new software program which is working very good, and they're about to put a new pickup truck out. Housing and HUD, our partnership with DANK continues to flourish. A little over $800,000 invested into our housing market, so 11 new first-time home buyers. So those are citizens that have never owned a home, didn't quite have the means to purchase a home, so The financing was made available to them, and went with that a lot of services to make them solid home buyers that would be successful with their home ownership. So I can tell you, I get to do a lot of things as mayor. The best things that I've been able to do is to sign those contracts with with people who are going to buy a home for the first time. It's pretty rewarding, so you should be proud of that. Everyone that had played a role in that. Community development grant, so these are for blighted properties and home rehab. This was owner occupied. More than $400,000 was invested into that. So we're not just talking about blight. We're doing something about it. We're putting resources to it. So that's very good. And we're currently doing a new survey. So we would encourage people to do that survey to gauge what type of grant we will pursue next, where the need is, and the parameters that best fit that. So we've refocused the BDC to community development. We're seeing great dividends already, hitting the ground running. We're seeing renewed cooperation with the town and village on those things. We're meeting every other month with them along with the BDC, so it's working very well. We're currently conducting the local government reorganization study, the Citizens Committee and the firm that was appointed. They met with staff last week. I know they had a meeting on Friday, so they're pursuing that. The timeline is about 6 months to complete that study and to take a look at potential village dissolution or what potential next steps could come after that if dissolution is not one of them. We have removed curbside pickup from spring cleanup, so that information has been out there to the public. I'll only speak for myself. I don't ever like to speak for trustees. For me, it wasn't about the cost savings. It was about keeping that stuff off of our streets, off of our curbs, and the condition it made this community. So we've talked about it for years. We've finally done it. We recognize we may have some growing pains with this. We ask people to be patient. We'll be working with people, and if we have to make changes next year, we'll do that. We made the Cold War Veterans Exemption permanent, and we installed new accounting software. So it was an interesting, challenging year doing the budget with Kevin with new software we were learning, but I thought there were great benefits to it. So I was pleased that we made that move. Breakdown of cost. We are local government. Local government provides direct services. It takes people to provide those services. Our biggest expense, 88% of our budget, is people. That is local government. Go to any local government, that's what it is. For the first time in 5 years, the value of our assessed property has risen, slightly over $2 million. First time in 5 years. And we believe, in meeting with the assessor today, the treasurer and I, it really comes down to two things. Obviously, construction, renovation, improvements to facilities that have occurred, and also they looked at some exemptions that people were getting. So as the assessor was meeting with people for the first time, reviewing those things and determining what was and was not available to people, so it cleaned a lot of that up. So some people were not eligible for exemptions that may or may not have been getting them. So it's really just a good effort by the assessor to make sure that things that are happening in that office are working correctly. So we'll talk a little bit about some of our successes. The biggest thing, and what we've been pushing, and even in our meetings with moving Massena forward to the downtown revitalization initiative, is to changing the narrative about optimism and progressive style. Stop living in the past, stop worrying about the past. Let's build a bright future. And to do that, we're focusing on community development, and the big emphasis continues to be for the village to improve the downtown core. How? It's with planning, it's partnering with entrepreneurships, people that are working with the chamber, people that are working with our downtown revitalization committee, our downtown business owners. We have a number of new businesses that have come to the downtown the last few years. It's great to work with these people. And all the external things and the grants, and people recognize that it's time to change the way we're doing business. It's all a success story because of people like that. When I just mentioned about creating a good environment, these are the things that we're doing, of course. We continue to work with strategic development specialists, our grant writing firm. They're a key piece in what we're doing. Everything we do with regard to the DRI, everything we do with moving Massena forward is a strategic development approach. It's teamwork, it's people sitting down, brainstorming, coming up with good ideas. The 485A tax abatement continues to be something that is getting interest in the downtown from people. The core of the community program, which we're just about this close to wrapping up. So we recognize it wasn't just about new businesses and bringing new people to the community. It was about working with our current business owners that live particularly in the downtown core and ensuring that we're helping them as well, because they were here for the lean years. Changing the narrative as we discussed together. We did some work on the School of Business this year to clean that property up. Instead of looking at it, continuing to look at it, we've addressed it. And we are currently underway. We've had 3 meetings on the DRI application. We're meeting again Monday, so we are well into the community effort of applying for the Downtown Revitalization Initiative money again this year. Housing, I mentioned this, I'm not going to go through that again, but again, a great partnership with DANK has worked very well to professionalize that office and to have a steady, consistent presence in that office. It's all about partnerships at every level, local, regional, county, you name it. We're working with anybody who's willing to come here and work, and that's been the big difference for us. I'll talk a little bit about the state budget that was passed yesterday, finalized yesterday. The AIM money, which is the aid and incentive to municipalities, did they restore it? The answer is yes and no. So our AIM funding in the current budget, and it's been steady for several years, $132,671. It's now going to be tied to sales tax revenues. So instead of that money coming directly from the state, it's going to be taking out of the new law that has been passed, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. It'll be taking out of that, and then so we'll be made whole for that loss. The problem with that, and I'm talking about the new internet sales tax. So our brick and mortars in many communities, and all communities in New York State, had difficulty competing with internet sales because they weren't required to collect sales tax. So now the brick and mortars on our Main Street, St. Lawrence Center, anywhere in this community, now at least have a level playing field when it comes. And we all know who we're talking about when it comes to internet sales, right? 2 companies have the lion's share of it, Amazon and Walmart. So they were not in the past in New York State required to collect sales tax. They are now. So that money's going to go to the state. Some of that money is going to be rerouted to municipalities through the comptroller's office to make us whole for the $132,000 for the AIM funding, which we of course appreciate the fact that we're getting that money back. The problem is the increase we would have seen from internet sales tax, we won't see now, or we won't see as much because that $132,000 is being lopped off the top. And you know, we're talking several $1 million throughout the state that'll be taken off of that. So we got it at least back into some form. Our transportation aid, our road money is still up in the air. They expect that the state will take this up during their session in the next month. So that leaves us hanging on our CHIPS money, which is our Consolidated Highway Improvement money, our Pave New York money, and the Extreme Winter Recovery money. So for us, it's $311,000. We hope to know this month before we adopt our budget. If not, we'll have to make a decision whether how we do that. This is important money that comes to municipalities from the state. If that money were to be eliminated, we could not do $311,000 of road work a year. We couldn't afford to do it locally. So it's important money for us. The tax cap has been made permanent, much to our urging and the urging of all municipalities in New York State that deal with tax caps. We've asked them to make a fair tax cap. We've asked them to make it the same one the governor uses in his formula when he touts his success in budgets. We've asked them to make it the same that the school districts are required to follow when they do that. They did not do that. We thought that they were going to do it. In fact, as late as Friday, we thought that the movement was going to be they would include some of these issues either with the tax-based growth, the pilot, or tying it to inflation. None of that was included, so the tax cap will be permanent. The formula will stay the same. One thing on the tax cap too, I heard an elected official last week taking credit for saving local taxpayers money. So I've sat in one of these rooms up here for 26 years now. This is the 26th budget that I've been involved in the village. 5 up here and the rest out there. Worked for 4 mayors and a whole lot of trustees, and many of you, Francis has been here a long time, Herb. I've never met a mayor or a trustee who wanted to raise taxes locally. So to tell us that they saved us money because they've passed a tax cap, to me is a stretch. We've done a diligent job in the 5 years that I've been here, and you look at the history, when we've had significant increases in local property taxes has been for some other reason. One was we had a year where the state pension system, because of the 2008-2009 financial crisis, we got hit with a huge pension. or healthcare costs, which are largely out of our control. So when we have to raise taxes, it's those types of things. So, you know, the characterization that they've saved local taxpayers money is flat out a stretch. Some other things that are in the budget, they are increasing education money, 3.8%, that's always good. Increase in water and sewer infrastructure, we've taken advantage of that. We hope to continue to do that. Recreational cannabis use is out of the budget, so they'll discuss that and weigh that through the budget, or through the Assembly and Senate process. One that should have us all concerned and should pay attention to that, within the budget, they are proposing to close up to 3 prisons. And as we know, the prisons are a significant economic impact to the North Country. We need to keep our eye close on that. They managed to find money to give themselves hefty pay raises at the state level. They've reformed criminal justice system. I think when you take one criminal justice issue at a time, you can upset a number of people for a variety of reasons. We'd be much better served in this state to create a bipartisan independent commission to review criminal justice issues and do it as a whole. When you take, for example, cash bail, you can understand the reason a number of people want to get rid of cash bail, because people that don't have money sit in jail waiting for trial. You want to make it somewhat fair, but so when you take that one issue, you upset a certain collection of people. Then you take the next issue and you upset a different set of people. So let's bring people together and really reform the criminal justice system. The post-Janus protections for public employees unions was made part of the law, so public employees unions will have a stronger footing with that. Plastic bags was banned and much more. So here are the numbers. General fund, 9.6 million, and there's the rest of the numbers, and I'm not going to read them. Total of 16,520,259. Thank you to everyone. And the schedule, which of course is in your package. We've condensed it to hopefully 3 sessions instead of 4 this year. We found we're here, we might as well continue to work in most cases. And I'm happy to take any questions regarding the budget. So this is a public hearing. This time we'd be open the floor up to anybody that has any comments. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. No, 2%. Mr. Carter, second by Mr. LeBeer. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The current tax rate is proposed at 1.77%. That is below the tax cap. We do, however, have to open a public hearing for the tax cap. It's the intention of the Village Board of Trustees to stay below the tax cap. Because the property tax freeze credit, we don't want to vote on and authorize to override it, because if we do that and we actually adopt a budget that's below, then our citizens aren't available for the tax-free rebate credit, tax freeze rebate credit. So essentially we open the public hearing. Everyone wants to make comments, they can. We leave the hearing open. If we don't take any other action, it just kind of goes away. If for whatever reason, at some point through the budget process, it appears that we need to override the tax cap, then we would vote at that time to do that. And we have up until the time we adopt the final budget to do that, and then we proceed accordingly. So I entertain a motion to open the 2% tax cap override public hearing.
So moved.
Mr. LeBeer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carter. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This is a public hearing. We'd be happy to take public comment regarding 2% tax cap override. Seeing and hearing none, I'd entertain a, no, sorry, we're going to leave that open. Okay, moving into our budget hearing. First up, we have Sylvia Despot here. She is at the Massena Senior Citizen Center. Welcome, Sylvia. So trustees, this will be tab 12, and it would be page 5 in your budgets, line 100, 6772, 400. Tab 12, page 5, line 100, 6772, 400.
First off, I'd just like to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Our seniors are most appreciative of what you do for us as a village, and you have done for us. And especially letting us have our rooms over there. We have maybe 100 people that pass through just a senior room. There's people in there every day, sometimes from morning to night. And right now there's a line dancing class going on over there. You have included us in your budget every year to make available the bus to go to different trips on there. We just took one trip and it was just a fun trip. And we weren't able to use last year's budget money, but we're taking to another trip to make sure that we have to, by the end of May 31st. You have never questioned what we do there, and we're more appreciative of what you have sent us in the cleaning crew. It takes a load off a lot of seniors. We just lost another one today, or yesterday. But we're getting more and more members over there. We now have 550 members. And so that's why we're able to do things on our own. But it just makes, if you make that plus trip, which is getting more expensive, if you make that available to us, we can handle the fundraisers. We're having fundraisers over there too a lot. And just thank you from all our seniors. And that's all I wanted to say.
So the request was for $2,550. I have met that request, same amount budgeted.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you so much. Next up, we have the Massena Chamber of Commerce. Toby Violi is here, and Nate Lejean, the Executive Director. So it's tab 2, page 5, lines 100, 6410, 410. Page 5, 100, 6410, 410, and it's tab 2. Gentlemen.
I'd like to echo what Sylvia said. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you guys have, and ladies have done for us. I will be completely honest, I didn't come prepared. I had an accident yesterday, and I haven't been able, I didn't even go in today. Thank you, Monique, for reminding me. You know, we've been having a steady progress of kind of rebuilding the chamber from the ashes a little bit, and I think we've been doing quite well. We've got a lot of returning members, and we've been bringing back some, or at least helping bringing back some events that we didn't have for a while, like the Christmas tree light. With that being said, I guess I could entertain any questions you might have about what I've written in your budget.
So the request was $20,500. I've met that request, budgeted $21,500. Chamber's been a partner in our DRI process, our moving Massena forward process. So at every step of things that we're trying to accomplish, they have been a big part of that. We appreciate the work that they do and the support that they've given us.
And I love the inclusion of the information display monitors.
Yes.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you.
Questions? Great. Thank you. Next up, Public Works. So that's tab, I think, 14, and I'm not going to give you all the lines in the budget because it'll take me the rest of the evening.
Excuse me, I'm just going to throw it.
Yeah, feel free to leave. It doesn't
Thank you very
hurt our
much,
feelings.
everyone.
Sylvia, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Fayette, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I also thank you for the review of the budget as well, Mayor. And in review of your budget, I noticed that there has been an exclusion of one of my pieces of equipment, that being the dump truck with the plow and the dump box. I understand, as well as the removal of one of the street programs that we're doing. And I understand because of the Rizzy Winter Recovery Fund that we're losing $40,000 there. However, in regards to the equipment that we have, the dump truck, we will need a new dump truck relatively soon. Now, what's going to happen here? We're on a slippery slope if we continue down this road. At some point, we will need a new sweeper. We will also need a new sidewalk plow and new equipment during the same times that we have to buy those. And so those two pieces of equipment come out of strictly the general fund. So it scares me a little bit in the sense that we're going to have to purchase all the equipment out of the general fund in one foul swoop in 1 year. So I was concerned by that. What I would request is that we reinstall the dump truck into the budget with a dump box, however, eliminating the plow. And what I can do is next year I will purchase the plow to be put on the vehicle. What that is, it will constitute, I'm requesting $115,000 for the cabin chassis of the dump truck, an additional $30,600 for the dump box, totaling $145,000 to be reinstated in the general fund. Not in the general fund. In all the accounts. Of that, of the $115,000 for the capital, for the dump truck cabin chassis, approximately $11,500 comes out of the general fund, and the rest comes out of the other three funds, because that piece of equipment is utilized in all the accounts. And then for the dump box, probably $3,600 would come out of the general fund. That's what I'm requesting there.
I have a question now related to equipment.
Yes.
For the street paving and road repairs, we did 1.6 miles of road paved last year.
That's correct.
With the current budget allocation, do you have a rough estimate on how much we'll be able to do?
It would be in the general area of 1.6
Okay.
miles as well. However, one of the programs has been eliminated from that, from the proposed projects. Because of the lack of emergency winter recovery, which I'm dumbfounded at that position. However, it's a $40,000 hit to the village of Massena, the removal of the winter recovery.
And they're gonna try to finalize the amounts for things like chips in their current session?
Yes, yeah, they're saying this month.
I had received an email today from one of the assemblymen stating that the CHIPS funding is flat. However, they eliminated